let's dive in here. The first things first is, again, the main idea is that you need to be the right piece that fits what you want to attract. Now, there's two things that go into this idea. Number one is that before you actually get what you want in life, you need to be able to kind of match it. You need to be the person who is required, who is capable enough to actually handle the thing. Two examples here for you. If you want more money in your life, for example, you need to build the capacity to handle that much value. So either you need something in exchange for this value, so to sell a product, to be a certain type of person, to share a certain amount of knowledge, whatever it may be, you're sharing that exchange value. But you also need to be capable enough to handle the money, right? To know how it works, have a positive relationship with it. Another example here is that, let's say you desire to have healthy love in your life. You want a healthy relationship. Well, here's the thing. Someone who also desires to have a healthy relationship is going to be very picky. They're going to really look for the right person, making sure they pick up the right person. What that means that you also need to be the person required to have what it is that you want, what they want as well. So it's almost like attracts like. So that's the first thing, right? Is you need to be the right piece so you can fit into the thing that you actually want. The second piece goes into, though, is that it's not always up to you what that want ends up being or looking like. And this is the talk of detachment. So let's dive into part number one, and that is all about you becoming the person who is required to have the thing that you want. All right, so becoming the magnet. Now, don't get too caught up and distracted by my amazing drawings, but here's how to become the magnet. So how do we become the thing to attract the thing that we want? Like, think about this. Okay, how do I actually go out and get the thing that I want in my life? Either if it is a certain relationship, if it's a certain job opportunity, certain business that I want to grow. The first thing I need to do is I need to make sure that my focus, my attention, my thought process is aligned with that. In order to spot, focus, and see, we have this thing in our brains called the RAS. This is your reticular activating system. What this does is filter out reality. And what it focuses on is it'll focus on the things that are priorities to you. So for example, your goals. It'll focus on reconfirming your identity, who you believe you are in real time. It will focus on your overall belief systems about the world and yourself and how things are over and over again. And it filters out information that isn't in alignment with your core programming. So this is why the first one, to spot, see, and focus, the first things is that we need to be making sure that our RAS is actually searching and finding that information. Here's an example. Let's say you want to buy a certain car, right? So I love Mustangs. So let's say I want to buy a Mustang. As soon as that desire comes into my awareness, I start seeing Mustangs all over the place. And the reason why is because my RAS now is activated towards it and it's picking that information up. So that's the first thing, is that we need to make sure our RAS is focusing, is looking for the things that we actually want. The second one now is to act and decide in the right way. So making sure you're making the right decisions and acting towards the thing that you desire. How do we do this? This all comes down to your identity. Your identity is who you believe you are. It's going to influence naturally how you act and behave in reality. So that's the second one, is act and decide, and that is connected to identity. Now there's one more though. The last one is that you need to be able to handle it. Now, when it comes to handling it, what I mean by that is that, let's say, for example, so how you're able to handle certain things in your life is all coming down to what you believe is best for you. Because what you believe is best for you, what you believe to be true about yourself, forms your identity, who you believe you are, and that influences how you behave, how you act, the decisions you make, the results that you kind of get in your life. So that's one part of it, we'll say. So you need to make sure, again, in order to handle it, is that you have the right identity for it. For example, if someone gives you a bunch of money to change your life, but you have very poor belief systems, like belief systems that are not healthy with money, or like, for example, belief systems that will cause you to unconsciously spend, not see the right opportunities to invest, belief systems like that. So typically they're aligned with like, I never have enough, I'm not, money is hard to make, money is scarce, belief systems like that. Because whatever you believe to be true, unconsciously or consciously, your brain's going to try to reconfirm that belief in real time by influencing what you focus on, what you see, how you feel, how you think, how you act, which then produce results in alignment with the beliefs that you have. So that's the first thing, is that you want to make sure that you have the right identity so you can actually handle it. But the second thing is your nervous system. Now, your nervous system is basically in charge for fight or flight, what is safety, what is a threat. So if you want to be able to actually handle more things in your life without completely falling apart or self-sabotaging or giving it up because you do these unconscious patterns because it's not safe, right? It's a threat, or rejecting it. If you actually want to accept it into your life, you need to make sure your nervous system is tuned for that. The fastest way to do that is, number one, having practices to keep you in a relaxed, calm state. But the second thing, the fastest way is simply just shift your belief systems. Shift your belief systems. Take away in the limiting belief systems that cause you to see something as a threat or unsafe, and shift that core belief system. Because as you shift the core belief system that's causing you to feel that way in the first place, once you shift it, once you shift the root, then you'll start to think about it and feel differently about it. You'll have a better relationship, whatever the thing is. You'll be able to start accepting it more into your life. So that is the second thing. So handling it, we'll say it ties to identity, but also your nervous system. So the biggest thing here, though, I don't want you to get too confused with this training. I don't want to make it too overwhelming. The biggest thing is that if you want to become the magnet, if you want to attract the thing that you want in your life, you basically want to adopt the state, the identity that you would have as if it was already done. What I mean by that is, like, how would you think? So identity is created through thought and emotion. So you want to think about, how would I think and feel as if I already had the thing that I desired? So if you already had the money, if you already had the relationship, the business, whatever it may be, if you already had that, how would you think and feel then? Like, how would you genuinely think and feel on a daily basis? What would your routine be like? How would you act? What is the decisions that you would make? You want to start adopting that identity in real time. You want to start being that person in real time. So for example, I wanted confidence while I was younger. I started to act like a confident person. I started to think and do things like a confident person would, no matter how uncomfortable it was. I was very scared doing those things. I was very uncomfortable, but I wanted to build confidence. So I took little by little actions. And then as I kept playing that role, one day I woke up and I actually became that person I want to be like. It wasn't a character I was playing anymore. So that's kind of how you're going to become the magnet to attract the thing that you desire, is that you need to be it now. And as you start to be it now, as you start to think of it and feel it and actually form the identity around it, you're going to act towards it and actually literally produce the results as well. You're going to act towards it, and that's going to produce the results of what you want. So that's number one, is becoming the magnet. Now let's dive into detaching. All right, so part number two is detaching. So how do we actually detach? We're going to go over 4 main keys that I believe is best to help you actually detach to attract the thing that you want much faster. When you're going after something that you really want in your life, either if it's a change, a relationship, again, business, whatever it may be, what's going to happen in this period of change as you're going for this thing is that your physical mind is always going to try to take control. It's always trying to take control. And many of us, we let it take control, and we experience so much anxiety and worry and unnecessary chaos of the mind. And it's because we're giving the physical mind a job it's not meant to do. So when it comes to the physical mind's job, there's 2 main things that it's going to try to do. Number one is the physical mind is always going to try to predict, control, and find certainty. That's the first thing it does. Mind you, if we don't take control of our physical mind, if we don't give it a job, it's going to secretly take over. It's going to secretly create its own job and try to control what it doesn't have control over. So that's the first thing, though, is predicting, finding certainty. How it does this is figuring out the who, the when, the how things need to be, etc. It wants certainty. This can get you in a big mess because oftentimes on the way to getting the things that you actually want, you're going to hit roadblocks and challenges and obstacles and things that you don't prefer. But it's all there for you. It's a part of the path. But if you let the physical mind take over, you're going to suffer so much and go through so much chaos. Because let's say you want love and that's what you want to attract into your life, and you're working on getting that. And then you find this relationship that has so much potential. Then your mind starts making up stories about this and starts giving meaning to certain situations and defining certain situations in a certain way. Okay, now you think this needs to be the way it needs to be. And then things don't work out anymore. And it shatters you and it breaks you down. Or let's say, for example, you're in the talking stages and your mind's like, I need this to be this certain way, and it wants familiarity. it wants predictability. And now you're coming from this state of anxiousness because you don't know where you're at in the relationship. You're just in talking stage. And now from this anxious feeling, you're starting to do things that don't make sense, that's not attractive. You're coming off clingy, and the person leaves. You don't get the thing that you want. So that's just a couple examples of how this physical mind can take over and sabotage the things that we want. And that's why we have to tame it, give it its own job. So first things first is don't let your physical mind control things, because it's always going to try to. What you can do here is give it its own job of, hey, you can control actions, our attitude, who we're being on a daily basis. That's what we can control. That's what I want you to focus on. But the how, the who, the when, all my desires come into fruition, honestly, I don't have full control over that. So you just let it go, right? You let it go and you just do your part, and you focus on doing your part, and you come from the right state of being, which we're going to talk about soon. And as you come from the right place and you do your part, that's how you're going to magnetize the thing that you want. So step number one to detachment is making sure your physical mind is doing the right job. Number two, state. You want to come from the state as if it's already done, as if it's already complete. This is all about identity shifting. So identity shifting is basically where you shift into the identity as the desired result, as if it's already done. My biggest motto that I always talk about, or one of them, is that in order to have the thing that you want, you need to become the person who is required to get it. So how do you become the person required? You need to act, think, feel, be like them. You need to adopt their identity. So that's what I mean by state. Activate the state as if it's already done. So for example, if again, you're going to go build a business, act as if you're a professional. Act as if you've done this 100 times. Show up with that energy. Show up with that identity. Take on that role, that character. Adopt that identity. And as you adopt that identity and you start to act and feel and think this way, and you continue to do it, you will literally start to believe it, because your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So as you consistently think and feel in a certain way and keep doing that part, you'll actually start to become it. You'll start to believe it's who you are. And that, then you're set. So that's the second one, is adopting the state. By the way, if you want to go deeper on these, I have multiple trainings on my YouTube channel. Next, we have timing. So this is the biggest one. I want to add this in because this is kind of a personal one that I've dealt with when working on detachment to attract the things that I want, and that is timing. Something about me is that I want everything that I want now. Everybody wants that, right? You don't want to wait. So the biggest thing that I've learned recently, though, is trusting in timing. And the easiest way to understand this is simply as so. If the thing that you want in your life is not in your life right now, then it's not meant to be in your life right now. But just because it's not here right now, it doesn't mean it's not going to be here tomorrow or the next week or the next month or the next year. But all you can do is let go and trust that, hey, it's not here yet. And that means that there's probably something I need to learn or whatever it may be, but it's coming at the perfect time. No later and no sooner. And that's the energy that you want to carry. If you can carry that energy, you'll get through the challenges, the low times, the long waiting periods much better, at much better ease. So just trust in the timing. Next one, the last one, is specific. So this is a very special one as well. Another thing that your mind might try to do is, as you're working towards the thing that you want, just don't be too specific, as in it needs to be this certain way, because then you're going to block out other opportunities to get the thing that you want. And guess what? It might be even better the other way around, on the other path, the other person, whatever it may be. It might be actually better than what you could have imagined. So this is what I would suggest, because remember, you want the thing you want for the feeling that it's going to give you, not for the actual thing itself. So have a general idea of the desired result that you want and hold on to the energy of it. And that's what you want to focus on. Let go of the specifics and let things just play out how they play out. And if you just adopt those two main core pieces that I just explained to you in the training, so detaching and becoming the magnet, you're going to attract the thing that you want into your life. And it's going to feel so much more fun and exciting, because this is a part of how reality creation works, how you function in reality. So that is the training for today, guys. If you like this training, make sure you like and subscribe for more. Leave a comment down below what hit home the most. And I do have a private community that I'm in the works of building right now. So if you want to learn hands-on, get coaching from me, join a community of like-minded people, stay tuned. That is coming here very soon. Super excited. But thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on the next training.